A special legislative session in Florida's capital. Lots of action, very little debate on things like the vaccine authority of the Surgeon General and local businesses.
The idea is to protect the public.
That picture will be there down the road somewhere in Florida.
Longtime leaders in state legislation join us to explain their position. Senators Aaron Bean and Audrey Gibson make their case. We're also looking ahead to the special election in Jacksonville, just weeks away as voters select a replacement for the late Tommy Hazzuri on City Council. Our coverage begins now on This Week in Jacksonville. Glad you're with us. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis quickly signed 4 new laws Thursday after pushing for and getting legislation from the House and Senate in a special session. The new laws will block President Biden's vaccine mandates. Supporters say freedom won a victory. Critics call it dangerous and politically motivated. Longtime lawmaker Audrey Gibson is joining us now, Democrat and state senator representing Jacksonville. Senator, we're already seeing changes based on the new laws. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I call it political theater, something that certainly could have been handled during a regular session, as was alluded to many times in conversations, that we can fix things during a regular session. A knee-jerk reaction when many of our in our community have been vaccinated, and I continue to encourage them to do so.
Did Democrats get a fair hearing of their concerns during the special session? I saw a lot of really quick movements here to get the legislation in, and next thing you know, it's through a committee and then it's voted on.
It was done very, very quickly, and actually, we don't even know what the real outcome will be, because many times it was said that, well, the Department of Health will promulgate the rules, and then I guess the Department of Health will tell us what to do. It was very rapid. I'm not so sure what happened in the House. I feel like I got all my questions in. It's the elusive answers that is more of an issue.
Senator, part of the new legislation gives $5 million to the Attorney General's office to fight legal battles that may follow. So is that a wise investment, or in your view, a wise use of taxpayer money?
Absolutely not. And in the end, there will be $6 million taken out of general revenue that certainly could do better, have better use by projects that we all like to put forward for our communities. Certainly, healthcare could have been used for that $5 million. That is immediately withdrawn just in case there happens to be some need for it as a punishment, and using it for a punishment to our businesses who are trying to protect their livelihood, their workers, and their patrons.
And you represent Jacksonville. You live here in Jacksonville. Duval County School Board, almost immediately after the laws were signed, said, okay, parents no longer have to sign an opt-out form for masks, essentially ending the mask mandate in the school district. It seems like we'll see that across the state of Florida. How do you feel about that as the outcome of the special session?
Well, and I think Duval County actually did a little tweaking in terms of the required note from a parent or something like that. And I think the bills are a usurping of local control. Local communities know what's best for what they see on the ground in terms of any spread in their community. And so the king has now usurped that power from the local communities. And last time I checked, we don't really have a king.
Right. So final thing, I've got just 30 seconds or so here. The Senate President, Wilton Simpson, said this was all about fighting for first responders, healthcare workers, farmers, truckers. If you voted against this or you weren't in favor of it, that doesn't mean that you're against those segments of the population, right?
Absolutely not. I'm for protection for that segment, the business segment, all of it, because it could have been done much differently with just one single line. If you want people to have permission from a doctor, then just say that. All of the rest of it is just ridiculousness.
Senator Audrey Gibson, I appreciate your time. I know that you were traveling here and still made it happen for us to get your perspective. And as a leader among Democrats in the Senate, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
So Senator Aaron Bean is a Republican and in his final year representing greater Jacksonville up into Nassau County. I spoke earlier this week with Senator Bean, who sponsored one of the bills that has been now signed into law.
It was a great day for freedom for the state of Florida. We've seen across the nation how different government entities, governors, mayors across the country have imposed mandates of whether it be masks or vaccines. And we are, as a state, have said no, we're not going to allow that to our citizens, most notably by the federal government and the Biden administration, which has used OSHA to force mandates on virtually everybody with a job in the country. But in Florida, we have said we are going a different direction. We're going to allow individuals to make their own choice as to what's best for them.
Some of the critics of this move in the legislative level have said, well, wait a second, we can't leave public health to just whatever anybody wants to do because there's a greater cause, a community cause that is more important. How do you explain that to people and why you're, at least what has been voted on this week, says, no, we're not going to allow vaccine mandates?
Well, everybody is different, Kent. Everybody is different. And we think it's best left to an individual to meet with their own doctor or medical personnel to let them choose. And the federal government doesn't even acknowledge if you've already had COVID, if you've already have the antibodies in your system, which some say is more powerful, a more powerful protection than getting the vaccine. So in the state of Florida now, we have said to public employers, no mandates. And if you're a private employer, if you do a mandate, you've got to have some opt-outs. You've got to recognize natural immunity from having the virus. You've got to allow people to have a medical exemption, a religious exemption, or allow testing paid for at the employer's expense. That's kind of the framework of which we launched today. Governor DeSantis has already signed these 4 bills. I had one of them dealing with forced vaccinations by the Surgeon General. There is a scenario, or was until we fixed it, where the Surgeon General could deem it as a health priority, a health emergency, and force vaccines upon an individual. And we have taken that out of statute.
As I heard you this week talk about it, you kind of painted a picture of what you didn't want to see, what we won't see because you took it out. What was that picture?
That's correct. Well, we don't want to see forced vaccination. Somebody, law enforcement in our statutes, it says the Surgeon General can use law enforcement to enforce his or her ability to force vaccinations of Floridians. That would be a horrible sight. So we didn't want to see that. One person should not choose for 21.6 million people. And had we not corrected that, that was still looming out there. Maybe not this virus, maybe not this vaccine, but for future vaccines. We just think now with the politicization of vaccines, what the federal government has done, we think it's best left up to that individual.
Clearly, Republicans have the power when it comes to the numbers in the Senate or the House. 3 of the 4 cabinet members, Republicans. Democrats are saying, hey, we didn't even get to really discuss or debate these 4 measures that just went through the special session. How do you feel about that for your colleagues?
I sat through multiple committees, 2 committees, which lasted for hours, which we took public testimony that lasted for hours. We allowed full debate that lasted for hours. So everybody got their say, and it's a shame that they didn't get their way, but they did get their input, which was listened to, considered, and then it was fully debated. If you watch special session, the floor session, which I presided over for a little bit, filling in for President Wilton Simpson, it was heavily debated on the floor. But I think that people that are proponents of freedom, thank goodness, won the day.
One of the controversial components was about moving away from the federal OSHA, creating something in Florida, seemed expensive. How do you feel about what happened there?
What we did, what the bill says, is that let's just investigate our options. The federal government, the Biden administration, has politicized and weaponized the OSHA. And so let's take a look at something different. And so we think that may be the crack. Other states may join in to examine. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. We did pass the bill, which says let's investigate it. And it does appropriate $1 million I forget the actual number of what it appropriates, but it appropriates money to just investigate our options so that Florida can remain free.
So you heard from two members of the Senate. House Speaker Chris Sprowls called the four bills the Florida Freedom Agenda. One of them, House Bill 3B, would protect the private health and religious records from being made public over the course of an investigation into a COVID-19 policy. All right, shifting to local politics in a moment. We'll start introducing you to candidates for the open Jacksonville City Council at-large seat. That's next on This Week in Jacksonville.
No matter what year it is or what season it is, Subaru of Jacksonville has made giving back to the community a priority. So of course, when the Subaru Share the Love event comes around, we find a way to go bigger. During the event, Subaru donates to charities with every new car purchase. But we want to make a bigger local impact. Subaru of Jacksonville is matching that donation to equal $500, plus another $5 for every Subaru vehicle routine service visit. Make a difference with us. Visit Subaru of Jacksonville today to give back.
Drive a Subaru. You'll buy a Subaru.
The Stanley Steamer started with one man, a van, and a whole lot of carpet. We've been innovating for a long time. Stanley Steamer now goes beyond carpet. We've been cleaning tile and grout, upholstery, rugs, air ducts, and a whole lot more. We don't just clean carpets, we clean homes. So when your home needs a cleaning, give us a ring at 1-800-STEAMER.
Well, hello, Winn-Dixie.
And hello to a thanks-worthy feast, free with all our delicious rewards points.
Your refined palate misses nothing, my twin.
So many sweet points baked into every bite.
The freshest veggies, the tender turkey, the points. Agreed. Here's to earning free groceries.
And to Winn-Dixie, the most rewarding place to shop.
Win-win twins for the win. Winn-Dixie.
It's a win-win.
Watching my father build this law firm and practice law, he taught me hard work. There really is no substitute for hard work. I learned through the military a disciplined, focused approach that I took into how I practice law, in addition to a team approach that it's not just one individual. You have to rely on your team. The hard work, the discipline, the focus, the results will come from that.
Good night, you guys. Every time. Shh. You think she's still awake?
Don't worry.
Stealth mode?
Yeah.
Shh.
Don't PTA meetings end at 9?
Oh, got lost.
Wait, what'd you guys talk about?
The
Max.
libraries.
Fine. You can drive to practice this weekend.
Well, that was easy.
What?
I mean, I love you guys.
The Lexus RX, built for modern families.
Chapter 1. Mr. Watson.
That's my daughter, making a difference for that beautiful cat in her lap named Thomas O'Malley. And she's making a difference on her report card, too. A special therapy for animals without homes and a fun and free mental workout for local students.
That bond between humans and animals has been special and important.
And parents, the best part is, I don't have to hound her to do it.
Reading Rescue, Monday starting at 5 p.m. on News 4 Jax. You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
Tommy Hazouri passed away this fall and left open a seat on Jacksonville City Council. There are 4 candidates for the position. I spoke with Democrat Tracy Polson about her qualifications and why she wants your vote.
I am a licensed mental health professional, and I learned very early in life that sometimes the people who are supposed to love and care and protect you are the people who can hurt you the most. And so I've dedicated my life to the why of that, wanting to understand why people do what they do as a way of mitigating that and helping people. And so I work every day in my psychotherapy and counseling practice with folks to help them understand and heal from the traumatic experiences they've had. I ran for the Florida House in 2018, and I was honored to be endorsed by Tommy Hazouri. I was thinking about this seat because I recognize that we have a huge trust problem in Jacksonville. We saw people try to sell JEA. And by the way, that's still happening. It just looks a little different. And I wanted to be a voice for everyday people here in Jacksonville. I wanted them to know that they would have somebody that would fight for them.
Dr. Polson, why would selling JEA be a bad thing? Clearly, we've covered this over the last couple of years. In your view, why is that the wrong answer for Jacksonville?
A lot of it was how it was done, right? So it was done in a way that too many deals are done here in Jacksonville and City Hall. It was done without the sunshine, so it was not a public process. And it was done without the consent of everyday Jacksonville people. My understanding is that there will be indictments on that. So this is not over yet. And there's an ordinance before the City Council, 692, that from my understanding, talking to folks at JEA today, that now some of these developers are trying to do it an arm and a leg at a time. So in a very particular way, this is still happening. City Council, 19 positions, 6 of those in these at-large groups. At-large speaks for kind of the whole area. Tell me why you're the one, Jacksonville voters should say, yes, I want you to represent us on that 19-member body. Well, I am the only woman on the ballot. I'm the only mental health professional, and I think I bring something very different to this process. I've been working all across the city in a lot of different areas, and that is one of the things that I've enjoyed most about this campaigning, even though it's an incredibly short period of time, literally going all across this very large, very diverse geographical area. And I'm a great listener. So this is what I do every day. But even more importantly, I'm able to ask questions. And what I have said all along since I filed in September, I can't be bought. So I think people can trust that I will represent them and that I will keep them informed. We're already holding town halls in various parts of the city, and I'll continue to do that when I'm elected. The biggest issue you want to affect if you're elected to city council? Well, I think you know that when Tommy was council president, he created the Safer Together committee. And I was incredibly disheartened to see Council Member Boylan step down from that, and even more disturbed to see Council President Newby disband that committee. I've read that report, 52 pages cover to cover. There were some excellent recommendations and suggestions out of that report. One of them was to expand the mental health co-responder program at JSO. This would pair a licensed mental health professional with a police officer to go out on every crisis mental health calls to de-escalate and not put people in jail who are struggling with mental health. That would be something that, even though that committee has been disbanded, I would continue to advocate for. What's that one thing, what's that drive home statement you would have for voters who are wondering, often in a special election, there's not huge turnout. So what's that person sitting on the fence? What do you need to say to them about voting in this election? Every election matters, this one in particular, because it is so special. Tommy Hazouri left a legacy that I intend to carry forward. I would just ask everybody to check me out. You can look at me on our website, polsonforjacksonville.com. You can also Google me and see the work that I've done in this community and throughout my entire life. And Polson may be the leading Democrat in the race. The top fundraising Republican joins us next. Nick Howland is coming up on This Week in Jacksonville. Stay with us.
If you're hurt and have no car, we'll help you seek a rental from the insurance company. And we'll do it for no extra fee. Call Farah and Farah.
Surprise! It's a new Buick.
Got me a new Buick?
Oh, and there are more gifts inside.
You got me the head-up display.
Heated steering wheel. The massaging seat.
Okay, what next?
Alexa, turn on holiday lights.
This year, give the gift of technology in every Buick SUV. Pay no interest for 72 months, plus current eligible Buick owners get $500 purchase allowance on Buick SUV models.
Marine 4 on News 4 Jax, Channel 4, the local station.
I didn't have to shout out for help.
Because you didn't have another DVT. Not today. One blood clot put you at risk of having another. So we chose Xarelto to help keep you protected.
Xarelto is proven to treat and reduce the risk of DVT or PE blood clots from happening again. Almost 98% of people did not have another DVT or PE. Don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase risk of blood clots. While taking, a spinal injection increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis. You may bruise more easily or take longer to stop bleeding. Xarelto can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. Don't take Xarelto if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures and any kidney or liver problems. Help protect yourself from another DVT or PE. Ask your doctor about Xarelto. To learn more about cost, visit Xarelto.com or call 1-888-XARELTO.
Republican Nick Howland is the trusted leader we need. A Navy veteran, businessman, and father, Nick shares our values and is ready to lead. That's why Sheriff Mike Williams, Congressman John Rutherford, and the Fraternal Order of Police have endorsed him. He'll fight violent crime, strengthen our economy, and work to improve every neighborhood. Nick Howland will serve us, not the special interests. On December 7th, vote Republican Nick Howland for City Council.
It's time to find your next Chevy truck and forge ahead. Take on new challenges and take it to the next level. It's the perfect time to do more in your next Chevy. Find new possibilities, find new roads. Very well qualified buyers can get 2.49% financing and $1,000 cash allowance on this Silverado. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy Cyber Cash on most Silverado 1500 Crew Cab pickups.
What is that?
When it comes to leaf blowers, size matters. Same goes for your law firm.
One big?
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
That was awesome.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
Among the candidates running in a special election for City Council at Large Group 3, the executive director of the Fire Watch. I spoke with Nick Howland about the race and the reasons he's running.
Yeah, my name is Nick Howland. As you know, it's the City Council at Large Group 3 special election. I'm a Navy veteran. I'm a business executive, father, husband, and I'm currently the executive director of the Fire Watch, which is Florida's fight to end veteran suicide. You know, my wife and I moved down here about 15 years ago. I've been involved in the city. I was on the city's Environmental Protection Board for 8 years, the Charter Revision Commission for a year, and the First Coast Manufacturing Association Board for 4 years. And I've seen how the city works. And I know that right now, Jacksonville is at a critical junction in its history. Kent, if you actually look at the census 2000, 2010, 2020, between 2000 and 2010, we grew about 8,000 residents a year. Between 2010 and 20, we grew about 15,000 residents a year. That's double the clip. And we know we're only going to increase. So there's such a need for leadership in the city as we try to figure out where we need to be in 10 years.
There have been some crises for the cities over the last couple of years. Many people would point to the potential sale of JEA. Some say, hey, that's still going on, but it's in the background and it's not transparent. How would you address those kind of concerns for people who point to that particular example and say, I'm not sure I trust my government?
Well, for that particular issue, that ship has sailed. And I think moving forward 10 years, it's all about leadership and transparency. And, you know, there's a handful of issues that we need to address to get Jacksonville where it needs to get. I think one of them is safety, public safety. We're a few hundred police officers short of where we need to be right now. Sheriff Mike Williams and I have had this discussion. He endorses me, and we know that we need to back public safety as we grow. Another big issue, Kent, is jobs. The last census had us at 995,000 people. We're already at 1 million now because significant time has lapsed since that count happened. We're probably on the verge of passing 1.2, maybe even 1.3. That's the size of Philadelphia by 2030. So providing jobs for all those families moving down, sometimes middle-class jobs. The city's doing a good job of bringing financial services businesses to town. We need to do a better job attracting logistics companies, manufacturing companies, really to provide middle-class jobs for all the families moving down. And finally, we know we're going to grow to accommodate all that, all those new residents. So I'd like to see a strategic plan put in place for the city to govern where we're going to be in 10 years. You look at cities like Indianapolis, back in the 90s, Indianapolis was almost a dilapidated former manufacturing city. They put together a strategic plan which survived the turnovers of city council the turnovers of the mayoral administration in Indianapolis. And that plan focused on what its strengths are, strengths being its central Midwest location. And they decided we want to be a city that attracts sports tourism. You see them getting the Super Bowl every few years. You see them getting the NCAA tournament every few years. That's attracted businesses, young professionals. It's rejuvenated neighborhoods. It's improved schools. I want to see us build a strategic plan, leveraging what our natural assets are, the river, the ocean, the wetlands, the intercoastal. This is a real opportunity. And when the at-large seat opened up, I jumped on the opportunity because an at-large city council member has the opportunity to kind of take a larger perspective, a view of Duval County writ large, and really make a mark on where we're going to be as a city.
So if this is your only opportunity to talk to somebody who's on the fence because it's a special election and they're not sure if they should or shouldn't, and if they do vote, who for, what do you say to that potential voter?
Vote for me. Servant leadership is what I'm all about. Moving forward at such a critical moment in our history, Jacksonville has the opportunity to be a major city, a tier 1 city in the United States of America. And, you know, I'm doing this because I care about Jacksonville. My wife and I, when we moved here 15 years ago, fell in love with it. We raised our 2 kids here. But what I'm hoping is in 10 years, when we get to where we need to be, my kids looking to start a family, looking to start a career, choose Jacksonville, not Nashville, not Charlotte, not Orlando or Atlanta, but they choose Jacksonville. That's my objective. That's why I'd like everyone to vote for me, Nick Howland, for the city council special election.
The special unitary election takes place December 7th, and you just heard from 2 of the candidates. Next week, we'll have the other candidates, James Jacobs and Howdy Russell. If no candidate earns 50% plus 1 vote, then there will be another election in the new year. That general election is scheduled for February 22nd, if needed. So next week, obviously, those 2 council candidates. We'll also have Steve Atkins with us. He's going to join us to describe the master plan he envisions for downtown Jacksonville and growth he wants to see. This Week in Jacksonville airs each Sunday morning at this time. I'm Cat Justice. Thanks for watching on air on Channel 4 and the CW17. You can also find us online at news4jax.com.